Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. Hi, I am Carmela E. Head. I am the Director of Renewal and Community Programs here at the Renewal Center. We are streaming live on location. I'm in the Renewal Center office today, and I'm so excited to be here with you. We are here to be with you today. We're excited that we're taking the time for reset. We're taking the time to renew ourselves. We're taking our time to increase resilience. How's everyone doing this morning or this afternoon on this wonderful fall day? I'm telling you, it's beautiful here at the Renewal Center. Right around the Renewal Center, we have a lot of trees and we have a lot of beautiful fall leaves everywhere, even out on the porch. And it's just a beautiful day, just an exciting time that we're going to be getting into today for our renewal practices. And I can't wait because we have something great in store for you today. So excited that we are in the month of October. And as you all know, the month of October is brings us with Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so the Renewal Center is honoring domestic violence awareness. And so we ask that you would stay tuned to our Renewal Center page as we'll be bringing more information about that awareness and other awarenesses through the month of October. And so I want to say good afternoon to everybody. I see Monique, Elder Monique. Hello. Good to see you today. Good afternoon, Prophet Hope. Good to see you too. We're so excited. Everybody is here. We ask everyone to go and invite your friends. Hello, Teresa over there on YouTube. Good to see you too. And Daphne, hello. We're getting everybody in today. I hope everyone, you have your tea with you. Let's begin to go ahead and invite our friends. Invite your coworkers if they're able to come. Invite some of those people that you know in your community or your immediate community. We ask that you would invite them, tag them. Place this on your social media platform to let everyone know that the Renewal Center is streaming live and we are ready to do renewal practices here for Tea Time Tuesday. And so we're so excited. So we're excited about what's going to happen today. I'm excited because I have some good information about our tea of the week and our book of the week. Before we get started, I want to share with you about our book of the week before I actually come and talk about it. Is we will be promoting books from our thought library, our thought room, in the month of October and November. And it's going to be focusing on hope. It's going to be books that's talking about encouragement and overcoming inner conflict, things like that. And so we're so excited. So when I come and bring the books the next couple of months, we'll be focusing in on that so we can really draw some great encouragement from these books. So without further delay, let's go into our tea of the week. Now, I want to send a shout out this morning to our Director of Digital Renewal and Stewardship, and that's Prophet Hope T. Melton. Prophet Hope T. Melton, I just want to let you know today that we are going to be featuring our tea of the week, which is Sarah C. Tea, and it's from Jamaica. And the reason I sent that shout out to Prophet Hope is because she is from Jamaica. And so I'm so excited. I hope that everyone has their tea. I'm going to talk about Sarah C. Tea today. The tea of the week is Sarah C. Tea. It's made from the leaves and the stems of bitter lemon. Bitter lemon kind of looks like a bumpy cucumber. After doing research, I was able to find that information. And it's made from the leaves and the stems, and they're processed into the smaller and finer shreds to make tea. Hey, Nicole, good afternoon. How you doing? And so it's a very popular tea that's grown. Hello, Mildred. It's good to see you today. It's very popular and it's grown in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. And so Sarah C. Tea has a very bitter taste to it, very bitter taste. But you can enhance the flavor by sweeten it with honey and cinnamon. And so that's what they normally do when they make Sarah C. Tea. You're going to steep it just like any other tea. And from what I was finding out, it's very flavorful. Good afternoon to my dad out there, Dr. Paul Brown. It's good to see you. And so I'm so excited talking about Sarah C. Tea. So if you ever get an opportunity to taste Sarah C. Tea, please let us know at the Renewal Center so that we can try it as well and see if it's a great tea. Okay, moving on to our book of the week. Our book of the week, like I said, we're going to be focusing on books on encouragement, books on hope, and books on overcoming. And so I would love to read this book, of synopsis about this book. Our book of the week is Life After the Storm. God Will Carry You Through. And it's by Jan Harrison. Such a great book, an encouraging book. And I want to read a little bit of the excerpt for you. Good afternoon, Karen. God longs to carry you through your storm. And so this is what it, hello, Audria. Are the winds of change, doubt, or grief swirling around you? The storms of life can leave scars that permanently mark your life. And when you are ready to begin the healing journey, this companion will lead you to God's essential provision for survival. His promises, His Spirit, His ever present help, and the treasure of His Word. With each step, you discover how to stop living in fear of what if and be ready for life, even if. Lean into God's constant presence and gentle healing. Experience transforming confidence and faith that only a storm can unveil. So, whether you're someone you care about faces a difficult season, God promises to carry you through a new life after the storm. So, if you ever get an opportunity to look this book up, it's Life After the Storm, God Will Carry You Through by Jan Harrison. We offer this here on location at our thought room in our in-house library. So if you're ever in the area, you want to come and visit us, you can take some time to sit and read and check out some of the chapters of this book in our thought room. So without further delay, we're going to bring on our executive director, Patrick J. Brown, for our Tea Time Tuesday renewal practices.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Tea Time Tuesdays. Patrick Brown. So glad everybody's with us. So excited about having you all here. So what's your tea of the day? What's your tea of the week? What's your tea of the moment? This is our time for Tea Time Tuesday, where we focus specifically on resetting and renewing ourselves, refreshing ourselves during the busyness of our week, and of course, building resilience. And that's what we do as a community. So please share with us what tea do you have today as we dive into our conversation. So glad, Carmela, that you opened us up with that Life After the Storm. That was an incredible, powerful read. And it's so wonderful when we can encourage each other and build each other up during times like this. So I want to thank you for opening up with that. And again, those of you that are out there, share with us your tea. Let us know also how you're doing today. How's your month starting out? We just finished wrapping up self-improvement month. So that was very, very interesting. We had a good month, good discussions in our tea time. Yes. So share with us today what your tea is today. Again, I have my coffee as usual. I'm going to have to get some tea next week. Let's see what we have here. For those of you that are participating today, please go ahead and share, tag with someone if you will. Ginger with honey. All right, now let's see if the fall tea people are coming in. Let's see here. Tazel's glazed lemon loaf.
Okay.
Glazed. Okay, now. All right. Thank you. Thank you. What else we got here? Pumpkin spice chai tea. All right. Let's see here. We have water. All right. H2O. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Green tea, lemon, and ginseng. All right. Ginger with honey. I see that as well.
Wow.
All right. Okay, all these gingers. Ginger must be the taste of the day. Let's see what else we got.
It is.
Oolong tea. All right. All right. Let's see. Cinnamon spice, fall autumn tea.
All right. We have a variety today.
Yeah, it's kind of diverse today. Turmeric ginger. Okay, ginger again. Mango kombucha tea. All right. Anybody else? What else you got out there? I feel kind of bad. I got my coffee. Well, that's all right.
Sweet and spicy this morning.
Sweet and spicy. All right. Teresa says she is drinking water.
Okay.
Right. Okay. All right. H2O and refreshing today. All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's take a moment before we get started in tea time today. Karen says she is hooked on this turmeric moringa. Okay. I haven't had that. Have you had that?
I
I
haven't had
haven't had
that,
that one. We're gonna have to try
but I
that
will
one.
try it. I will
I
try
will
it.
try that as well. Jericho Rose, that's Tanya. Ginger lemon tea. All right.
That's
All right.
healthy.
So a lot of diverse teas today. All right. Excellent. But before we get started, you know what we do? We locate ourselves. We want to take a moment here for a moment and let's locate ourselves. I'm not by myself. Michelle says she has
She
a
has
glass of tea.
coffee.
Thank you so much for the coffee lovers in the house. Appreciate that, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Okay, Michelle.
All right, appreciate it. Very good. Excellent. All right, let's take 30 seconds here. Let's calm ourselves. Some of you may be in your break right now. And so we want to take the moment here to just pause for a moment with a calm practice. All right. So if you just get in a good posture, if you will, and let's just close our eyes and let's just breathe in and hold it and then breathe out. Breathe in again. Breathe out again. All right. Very good. We're locating ourselves today. All right. Thanks, everyone, for your calm exercise. Now we're going to go into our time today. Mel, I see you on the other side here in a minute.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you so much. Now, everyone, today we're going to focus specifically on understanding growth. Understanding growth. That's our focus for today. So if you have your journal, go ahead and you're taking notes today. This is going to be an exercise where we want you to take some notes and then we'll apply this to how we're growing, how we're developing. The whole goal of our tea time is to focus on renewing ourselves through times of meditation, times of refreshing ourselves. We also do this so that we can refresh during the beginning of our week. And so imagine if everyone took time to just decompress, time to disconnect from the busyness and clearing their minds, clearing their hearts, refreshing themselves, renewing themselves. And that's part of our vision here during tea time. So if you're in the Concord, Charlotte area, please come visit us at 159 on Church Street in the historic district of Concord. All right. So today's focus is understanding growth. Understanding growth. Now, this is a very important subject because we just finished self-improvement. We're taking a different twist to this today so that we can concentrate on areas, what causes us to be individuals that are growing. And so that's my emphasis for today. I want to talk through this and think through how do we really understand what does it mean to grow. And so there are 4 pieces to this puzzle of growth today that we want to focus on. All right. So I'm going to bring this up and we'll talk through each one of these and I'll give you some ideas and let's engage in this in a way that we can make it a dynamic experience. So the first one is growth by mind shift. By mind shift. First principle is people who are growing are prepared to change their thinking about things. People who are growing are prepared to change their thinking about things. Now, I want to pause here and sit with this for a moment. One of the key things in a video that I did about growth and expansion last year or so, and I reposted it recently, was about if we're going to expand or grow, many times we have to invalidate the previous level of thinking. It's kind of like in science. Many of us learned about what we call the geocentric model, right? Where they believe that the Earth was the center of the known universe. So as a result of that, we thought that everything centered around the planet Earth that we lived on, right? But as science grew, as humanity grew in science and in knowledge, what ended up happening was someone else came up with a heliocentric model where they thought that it was the sun was the center of the known universe. And of course, other models grew and grew because we knew that the solar system was not the center. What I'm saying is that if we're going to experience growth, there must be a shift or growth by mind shift. Sometimes we grow when our mind will shift. And so therefore, what we end up doing is that we invalidate the previous level with new insights, new knowledge. Now, of course, there was a lot of infighting during that time because the people who thought that the geocentric model was correct, they were claiming heresy for those that came up with the heliocentric models, and they were back and forth because of that scientific breakthrough. Here's the statement I want you to think and consider. Every major breakthrough is a break with. Every major breakthrough is a break with. Why? Because we're invalidating the previous mindset. Think about the breakthroughs in your life. Think about breakthroughs in the earth, in the world, breakthroughs in science, breakthrough in technology, breakthrough in arts, breakthrough in education, breakthrough with new inventions. It came with a break with what? A break with the norm, a break with the mundane, a break with average thinking. So I want you to consider and ask yourself this question and put some comments in the chat and engage with us. What are some areas that you may have shifted, mindsets that you may have shifted from previously? I'm going to bring this up one more time for you so you can see what I'm talking about here. So people who are growing are prepared to change their thinking about things. What are some areas or things, just to use that phrase, that you perhaps changed your mind about maybe this year, maybe recently, maybe the past few months? Because if we're going to understand growth, one area that we can focus on in the month of October is growth by mind shift. Because people who are growing are prepared. We must be prepared to change our minds about things. Am I changing my thinking? See, many times where we may not grow, it's because we have not shifted our thought process. We haven't shifted our minds. And so even in the example that I gave you, every major breakthrough is a break with. So I'd like you to just put it in the chat, put in the comments. What are some things that you've changed your mind about, perhaps? If you're prepared for growth and prepared to change the nature of how you think about things, that's going to position you for growth. So go ahead and share that with us. I'd like to definitely hear from you, because if we do that, then that will help us understand areas perhaps that we may not have considered. As we grow and as we change, many times we have beliefs that are inflexible and we don't come out of them. Not all traditions are bad, but perhaps there are things that we trade on that keep us blind from our mind, keep us blind for our mind developing. And so people who are growing again are prepared to change. Are you prepared to change your thinking about things? That's what this is about, if we're going to understand growth. So I'm challenging you in our tea time today to consider that. So if you will, go ahead and share that with us if you have some perspectives or some insights about yourself, and consider what are some areas that you perhaps changed and you're prepared to change in order to make room for other ideas, to make room for expansion. There's a quote that I like to say that I read many years ago. It was like, expertise is the enemy of innovation. I was like, many of us are pursuing to be an expert in many areas. We're inundated with information. We're inundated with disinformation. And so many times if we pursue an expertise in different areas, that perhaps can also block us from expanding and being open to new, fresh ideas of innovation. Why? Because we're stuck in our expertise. So we have to be mindful that even knowledge, make sure that's progressive so that we can continue to grow and expand. So let's pause here for a moment and sit with this. Growth by mind shift. How has your mind shifted in 2021? How has your mind shifted during this pandemic? How has your mind shifted in the nature of how you relate to others? So let's think about this as it relates to how we understand growth. That's our tea time conversation for today. So let's hear a little bit more what others are saying. Prophet Daphne is saying, stop focusing much on the why I should not and focus on why I should. Thank you for sharing that with us, Daphne. Greatly appreciate that. What else? Karen is saying here, daily exercise in order to maintain my health. You made a shift there because previously maybe you were doing something different. Thank you for sharing that. Teresa says here, I had to change my way of thinking regarding the principle of building wealth. Okay, so you begin to shift your thinking and imagine what happened. You begin to see measurable progress in reasonable time when we grow by shifting our minds. Now, there are other areas we're going to dig into today, but for the sake of our magnifying glass image that we have here today, we need to amplify and look at what's inside of us so that we can understand it. And Nicole is sharing also with us, failing at certain areas in life forced me to shift and succeeded areas I never would have considered otherwise. Thank you so much for sharing that. See, this is what I appreciate about our tea time is our authenticity, being true to ourselves. We're building resilience by sharing with each other. And again, many of you out there have experienced growth by shifting the mind. So that's what we want to focus on. So I want you to also think about, as it relates to underlying beliefs, many times if we don't shift our minds, some of our underlying beliefs will never surface. So if there's a shifting, even in an earthquake, right, the tectonic plates begin to shift, then there's a shaking that takes place in the earth. Well, sometimes that happens to us mentally where things have to shift a bit for other ideas or what's underneath to emerge. All right, let's hear a little bit more from those that are posting here. Mildred says, change my mind on how I react to others and what is said to me. See, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. This awareness is helping when we begin to identify, like what we're doing right now. We're identifying areas in mind shifting. And when we see that about ourselves, we can then grow. All right, let's move to the next point. All right. Next, we grow by awareness. Growth by awareness. So it says here, growth by awareness. People who are growing become aware consciously of their subconscious organizing principles. Sit with this one. So I have some organizing principles that are subconsciously there that I've picked up through life since I was a child, well into adulthood, that perhaps in those organizing principles, if I don't become aware of those organizing principles, I may not grow as well. They're my automatic responses, my automatic reactions. They're inherent, they're implicit, they're implied, they're internal. They're not as a result of a catalyst. They're possibly from my home of origin. Could be the culture, my upbringing, other experiences that I've had that have perhaps solidified this in that. So instead of being wet cement and malleable, I've hardened myself. And as a result of that, I now am not able to break through. Michelle also shares something else about mind shifting. Let's bring this up. Being more intentional about how I process information, making an intent and deliberate decision. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's think through this about growth by awareness. And I want you to really, really deeply sit with this, because when we become consciously aware of my unconscious, subconscious organizing principles, then I can make room for new beliefs. Growth by awareness. Am I aware of my organizing principles? Am I aware? Because they're subconscious, they're unconscious, they're there. So the more we become aware of that consciously, we can now make room for new beliefs. See, awareness is key. We talked about mind shifting. Second thing is awareness. If I'm not aware, then how can I really experience new beliefs if I don't look at what programming I have in my own mind? My upbringing, it's just rudiments, traditions, things that I'm used to that may be productive or counterproductive. They may be proven or not proven. They may be valid or need to be invalidated. Either way, we all have them. We have a certain amount of organized principles that we govern our thoughts and our lives from. And as a result of that, if we're not aware, then those can rule us. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. It's a principle that it's important to be aware where we are. So I want you to think about ways that you can become more aware of your organizing principles that perhaps are subconscious. And we'll dig deeper into that in our tea time discussion today. So again, let me go back to our foundation with this. When you are aware of your organizing principles, you're in position for growth. Now, I need to do this because I'm a man of the word, so I'm going to share a little principle. And I wrote down this text, which you probably know. But anyway, I'm going to share this anyway. Matthew 9:16-17. I'm going to read this. It says, "No one sews a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch will pull away from the garment, making the tear worse. Neither do men pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst. The wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved." Let's sit with this one. There are times that I remember growing up that I had some concerns about a particular issue of rejection. And so I began to think, well, if I don't disturb people, I won't be rejected. I already had underlying organizing principle that if I don't disturb anyone, then I won't be rejected. But I didn't realize that was an organizing principle I already had. Now I understand now, of course, where that came from, and I understand how it was developed in me as I look back in retrospect. And yet what ends up happening is, in order for me to avoid a particular rejecting experience, I would not complete a task, or I would not interrupt, or I wouldn't want to disturb anyone. See, that's when you become aware. As I became aware of that, that's when I began to experience growth as a young boy, right? So people deal with that, whether it doesn't matter the age that we're in. Many times we have organizing principles, and awareness will help us look at. Mine was, I don't want people to reject me, so therefore I didn't want to disturb, or I would not follow through with specific areas. Could be fear of failure, whatever it might be. But we have to consider there are organizing principles that we all have. And so I automatically assumed, I'm going to experience a rejection here. So maybe I should not say anything or do anything. And so it was like a protection mode of, well, if I just don't, then, I'm not sure if I'll be accepted or affirmed or, you see? So it's important that if we're going to grow, not only are we growing by a mind shift, we grow by awareness. Go ahead and just type that in there, awareness, mind shift and awareness. Let's get you there. I want to hear some of your thoughts on this. So, you ready? Are you sitting with this? Let me know if this is helping you today. Hopefully you're enjoying this tea time conversation we're having. All right, let's move on to the third point. Growth by agility. Growth by agility. I also want to just get back real quick on the growth by awareness piece, just to add an extra dynamic to this, that, your growth is vital and alive, like new wine. Okay, so let's really consider our underlying principles. Now, it's important that we do this because One of the I would say, biggest obstacles that we may have is old ways of thinking. And so many times I found myself trapped in an old belief. Have you ever, find yourself trapped in an old belief? So when you become aware of that, you have an aha moment, an awakening. Can't believe this. I was trapped in this old belief system. And so now I'm awakened. It's like having unclaimed funds. And I didn't know that I had all these unclaimed funds, and I discover I do. So it's important that these first two principles are critical, is shifting the mind, being open to that, and then also having an awareness. All right, let's hear a few more. Monique says, I had to shift my thinking and realize that I don't have to have everyone's approval for my life assignments and goals. Powerful shifting. Thank you so much for sharing that. Here's Ravella says, if I'm silent, then I'm never wrong. Okay, again, we are considering our programming. We're considering our organizing principles. Anybody else here? Okay, mind shift and awareness. Mind shift and awareness. It's important that we look at how our minds are framed and what needs to be shifted, and then the awareness pieces that need to be there. All right, let's consider that. Now let's move. Third one is growth by agility. Growth by agility. Growth by agility, an underworking principle about growth by agility is people who are growing are discovering what they believe, even about themselves. Let's just sit with that one right there. People who are growing are discovering what they believe, even about themselves. Self-awareness is a fruit of personal growth. If I'm personally growing, then I'm more self-aware. If I'm more self-aware, my mind is shifting. And as my mind is shifting and I'm aware, I grow by agility. Being mentally agile means mentally flexible, mentally pliable, mentally malleable. So growing by agility says, I'm going to do something differently that I haven't done before, because different thinking, different results. How many of you have a watch on right now? Or perhaps maybe you have your favorite bracelet on. Anybody? If you do, I want you to take your watch that you have, mine is on my left hand, and I'm going to put it on my right arm now, my right wrist. So here we go. So I have my watch on. It's now on my right. Now this feels very odd. I'm like experiencing some sensations here because I'm not used to wearing it on my right hand. First of all, I'm left-handed as far as writing. It's interesting because I bowl on my right hand. Nonetheless, I'm all over the place with that. But I have my watch. It's on my right hand now, my right arm, my right wrist. And because I shifted, I did an action that produced a mentally agile experience in my brain. And as a result of that, now, instead of me being used to looking here, I'm now activating some dendrites or something in my neural pathways that are causing me to look differently. And it doesn't feel weird. Go ahead and do that. Maybe it's your beads. Maybe it's a cup that you have on or something like that you can shift. And once you make that change and being agile, then you grow because you'll discover a different thing about yourself. Now, if I stayed in tradition and said, I'm not going to change, I'm always going to leave it on my left hand, maybe I'm not aware that there's something that takes place when I'm looking at it on the right side. Doesn't it feel different if you did it, if you were able to do that little exercise there? Well, what are we mentally agile about? Are you going to take a different route home? Now, I don't like this is uncomfortable for me, so I need to put it back on the other side here. But nonetheless, are you willing to take a different route home? Are you willing to write something differently? Are you willing to be agile in what you say about yourself? Are you willing to be agile in doing something you've never done before? Are you taking on a new hobby, perhaps? Maybe there's an interest that you put down for a while that you need to revive. or maybe just finishing what you started. Because in the feeling of completion, you've shown agility. We grow by discovering what we believe, and then we learn more about ourselves. So I'm going to ask you a question as we sit with this. What are some agile actions that you can take? What are some agile actions you can take in order for you to experience growth? We're going to sit with this. Again, what are some agile actions that you can take so you can experience growth? You can discover more about what you believe and even about yourself. So let's go sit and see some of these answers. So mind shift, awareness. Go ahead and type it out. Agility. That's the next thing we're focusing on, being mentally agile. I did a coaching session the end of last year where I met with about 5 or 6 participants. One of the things that we talked about in our sessions as we were finishing strong in 2020 was about mental agility. And I can guarantee you those that attended that applied that context did different actions that made them even more agile. And they could see, probably measure their growth in 2021. And I don't know if any of them are out there, but those that did experience that, they began to apply that mental agile experience. And as a result of that, they experience growth. So again, what are some mentally agile actions that you can take now to experience growth about what you believe or even about yourself? So let's sit with this one. We have to be open to the thought that maybe a thing we've learned and believe is wrong. Difficult but necessary to shift your truth in order to grow. Thank you for sharing that, Nicole. Anybody else? Mentally agile. I had to be willing to change what I say to myself about myself because I realized that I believe what I say. Isn't that interesting? Thank you. What are some actions that you can take that are agile actions to build your mental agility so that you can experience some growth? Because everyone deserves the right to grow. Everyone deserves the right to grow. Everyone deserves the right to be able to say, I can renew myself and I can grow by my mind shift, by awareness, by agility. What else can you do? Truly consider a perspective that is very different from my own. Being empathic, removing my shoes, putting someone else's shoes on, truly being compassionate. And what is our last principle for today in understanding growth? Growth by relationships. Woo! You know, hard heads come from hard hearts, they say. So if my heart is hard, my head's going to be hard. And as a result, I won't experience change. Michelle says that I let go of what I had in mind about myself to make room for growth thinking. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. So I want you to consider growth by relationships. You know, when we are looking at growth by relationships, people who are growing realize they cannot understand themselves well enough alone. Really think on that one. People who are growing realize they cannot understand themselves well enough alone. So they call them what? The whole proverbial Johari window, where there's a discussion about blind spots. Well, there are also not only blind spots, there are bright spots. Areas about myself that I didn't consider because you see that greatness perhaps that I may not be seeing. You see competencies that I may not see. That's why it's important to have quality relationships. Many times people say things like that. It's like math, right? People that add and multiply, and then those that divide and subtract. we have to consider the mathematics in our growth, that there will be those that add, there will be those that multiply, then there'll be those that cause subtraction, and division. So it's important that we see we can grow and we will grow because we don't know ourselves well enough alone. We can learn and emerge by connecting with others, getting ourselves to realize that when we have fusion, there's more power in fusion than there is in fission. See, even my own brothers and sisters, my own family, it's like, okay, that's Patrick, that's my bro. But here's the thing: if I stay in my patterns, I'll continue to have the same results. So it's very difficult to change what I don't understand. I don't understand perhaps the impact of what I might be doing or thinking. So I have to understand myself better in order for me to change a lifelong pattern. Whew. See, minimizing a problem is not the same as facing it. So I'm not going to minimize it, because growth is about embracing the totality of who I am, not just the great parts. So I want you to think about how you will grow by relationships. How are you growing by your relationships? Now, I'm not talking about people that just call out stuff. That's not what this conversation is about. That person who wants to call out stuff and not see themselves, that's an issue. They need to take a good look in the mirror. We're not discussing that. We're referring to this mindset when people say things like, well, nobody knows myself, herself better than I do. I thought about it and I know. Well, you know what? Knowledge of yourself is only partial many times. Sometimes we put a blinder on that makes new growth and change of mind incredibly difficult. Here's my point that I want to drive home in tea time, and then we'll stop, is the main reason why people can't change is that they don't understand themselves well enough to realize where change is necessary. The main reason people can't change is that they don't understand themselves well enough to realize where change is necessary. And that happens, my friends, through relationships. So we're going to pause here and just sit with all of this. Go through these 4 areas one more time. Understanding growth. Growth by mind shift, growth by awareness, growth by agility, growth by relationships. So I want you to consider this month, this season in your life, how are you understanding growth in these 4 areas? Please, if you will, go ahead and share with us what your takeaways are for today here in our tea time. We're here every single Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Tea Time Tuesday. We focus on renewing, we're focusing on refreshing and resetting ourselves, and building resilience in our tea time community. Various subjects, various areas of insight. So if you will share with us, please, go ahead and place it in the chat and the comments. What's your takeaway for today from these 4 areas? Mind shift, or what can you apply? How does this apply to where you are? What are some other questions do you need to explore concerning understanding growth? I want to thank everyone for sharing with us today and engaging in our tea time. If you're ever in the Concord, Charlotte, North Carolina area, please come and visit us. We're here at 159 Church Street in the historic district of Concord. Also, we have a mobile app, and you can download our mobile app in your particular app store. Just type in the Renewal Center, and you can upload our digital content, our creative spiritual content, our blog team, our Monday Motivation Renewal Word. You also load some of our other content to help restore and reform and inform your life, So that content is there as well. And you can stay in touch with us with our notifications and our announcements. So just download that. Also, if this information and this type of experience is beneficial to you, please feel free to connect with us and partner with us here at the Renewal Center. We are a nonprofit organization. You can feel free to donate to the Renewal Center via text. Text Renewal Center to 888-364-4483. That's been streaming at the bottom. And then also you can give through the mobile app the same way, or through our website at therenewalcenters.com/give. All right, let's go ahead and let's see what else is who else is commenting here for our last statements and your takeaways. Andrea says, relationships are often mirrors for me, revealing things to me that I do not see or have been unwilling to see. Thank you so much for sharing that. Ravella says here, growth is multi-dimensional. Thank you for sharing that. Daphne, what do you have to say here? Let's go here. Being willing to listen, be willing to accept feedback, take the feelings out to determine areas in my life that need to be changed or tailored. Nicole says here, every major breakthrough, comes with a break with. Glad that helped. Absolutely. Thank you for reconnecting and revisiting that phrase. Anybody else have any other takeaways? Please feel free to share your takeaways in the comments. And again, I want to thank everyone for coming on the Tea Time today. One last thing I'd like to share with you is our direct community renewal plan has a Thrive series, a master class I want to share with you called the Thrive series. She has a monthly master class. I want you to connect with her. She still has registrations that are open for those of you that may need consulting, you need personal development, you need accountability. Her next course is Thrive in Creating Possibilities, which is October 14th, November 11th, Thrive in Expanding You, and December 9th, Thrive in Cultivating Your Vision. It's every second Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. And she has a session for those that register. Please go to her website at transformational-moment.com and /Thrive Masterclass, or just contact her directly to connect and register for that course. It'll be $40 if you're taking one session, or $90 for the next 3 sessions. And this will be an incredible investment in your growth and in your expansion in these areas. So I just wanted to share that. She, in addition to her directing here at the Renewal Center, she also is the principal consultant and owner of First Glance LLC. So I just wanted to share that. All right. So I want to thank everyone for coming on today at Tea Time. A few more takeaways are coming out. Growth requires a new shift in thinking. Moni, thank you so much for sharing that. Keisha says here, my takeaway is that growth is essential in every area of life. Through shifting my mindset and becoming more aware, it will help foster my relationships better. All right. I thank you. Thank you all for sharing and being a part of our Tea Time today. I hope that you've received from us. We want to also share with you, we have a Reforming Culture series where we're teaching on the leadership principles, the prophetic leadership principles of Nehemiah. That is every first, second, and third Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. You can go to our site or download our mobile app for more registration information. All right. So again, thanks everyone for coming on board. We appreciate you being a part of our Tea Time today, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. And always remember, I am Renewal. Have a good day.